Perhaps one of the finest crosses of the ball to ever wear the black and white shirt. Please give a huge round of applause to Nolberto Solano. That was a nice response, wasn't it? Very nice. I mean, it's a pleasure to have you here tonight, Nobby. Yeah, if you want to just move that closer. Yes. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I'd asked you at the start of the season where Newcastle were going to finish, I can bet me bottom dollar you wouldn't have said top 4.
Well, first of all, you always, when these people take it over, the new owners, you always give you a little bit of hope. What you say is true. Nobody, I believe, will thinking, oh, this season probably we want to finish in the top 4. Maybe everybody will be happy if we finish in the top 10. Don't stay suffering like it happened in the last few years ago, relegation situation. But to be honest, it's a fantastic job from Eddie Howe.
And when we say that Newcastle United have qualified for the Champions League, has it sunk in yet? Because I think to many here, it probably still feels a bit of a surprise, and that they haven't woken up from the dream.
To be honest, I mean, like I said before, it's the best thing can happen for the club. As a player, you always you try to challenge, to try to win things like that. But to be in the Champions League is another extra plus for any player who wish to play football. Apart from you play for your national team, play in the World Cup, the best competition you can have in this Champions League. We're watching every week, every year. You see Manchester City, Arsenal, teams like that. Now you're involved in there. It's the best thing can happen as to your footballer. So we pleased, very, very glad to what happened to the club.
Yeah, it's been a tremendous season. And just how impressed have you been with Eddie Howe?
Like I say, it was big move for him. I believe for his career, it's a big challenge. He's been doing fantastic career. I started in Bournemouth for many years. The building the Bournemouth team, you get into the Premier League was great achievement for his career. He's a young manager. That's a good plus for the club. That's a good hopes for the club to still with the team. I hope so if everything starts to going well. Looking forward, but he's a good manager. He's a good manager. He reads so well what the team needs, what the club needs. He get the players together, because if you see the players, it's 70% of these guys used to play with under Steven Bruce or managers before, so I can tell the guy is very open. He has a big staff, so he do fantastic.
And you mentioned there the fact that a lot of these players were here before the takeover, before Eddie Howe. I mean, one of the big criticisms from those outside of Tyneside is that Newcastle have bought their way to Champions League football, but that just isn't the case, is it? Because as you mentioned, a lot of these players were here beforehand. Is it the case that it's just down to hard work on the training pitch, and Eddie Howe and his staff deserve a lot more credit than maybe they could?
Of course. Like I'm saying to you, that's a good thing when somebody arrives. It's happened. It's a little bit remind me in the time back in the years when we used to be, especially my situation. I'm arriving here in 1998. I'm being hearing a little bit about Newcastle. Played Champions League 2 years before with Tino Asprilla and the previous manager was
Kenny Douglas.
Not Kenny. Before Kenny,
Keegan.
Sorry. Under Keegan was fantastic team, entertainment team, and after that, when Kenny Douglas arrived, he signed me. It was a difficult time. Arrived in the club when everything looked a little bit mess. Wasn't players in and out. I saw a little bit old players need to leave the club, like John Barnes, Stuart Pearce, Philip Valverde, wonderful players, but a little bit older in the time. So Kenny signed me, and there was 2 months later he got sacked. So Ruth Gully arrived with no much experience in football and team management, fantastic footballer. But it's a shame because wasn't a good team manager. I mean, it was difficult, tough period. We fell out with a lot of the players in that time. With these experienced players, we was a little bit, half of the team was quite young, and the other team was quite older. So he tried to make it a transformation in the team, but don't have a time. So the best time when Bobby arrived, it looked like he knew it was going on. He knew what happened inside. changed everything straight away, the team spirit. So it reminds me very much like Eddie done with his team.
And I know one of the things that sticks out for you under Sir Bobby Robson was what he did with the dinner time with the players at the training ground. He made you guys stay and wait, didn't he?
Make it spell like my granddad. You know, when he's having dinner, we have to wait till he finished to stand up in the floor, in the table. So, well, it was part of the thing. You know, Bobby said, okay, 1 o'clock, everybody sit down. We waited for him, stand up, service first, and after we go in the queue, and after we have to finish, wait till he's finished, till we can go home. So, well, you know, Bobby talk, he forgot we still in the table, fast asleep after training. But was good thing, you know, to start to pull the team together. We understood what we had to do, so it was the best thing. We want to always say that's the way to, as a team spirit, we get together to be successful.
And how important is that unity within the dressing room? Because you mentioned there, like under Sir Bobby Robson, and you can see it now with today's squad. Like, you know, they just love one another. They will fight to the death for one another. How important is it?
Well, you see the best example after when I saw the last game with Leicester City. You see all the lads with all his family, his kids. That look like all the destruction from the Eddie. Eddie's a guy look after, you know. It's remind me very much because I was working in Peru in the national team when my boss was from Argentina. He always, I believe you attack that part of the human, you know, thing with the players. The players is on your side, so you can tell the players, you know, respect so much Eddie, so respect all his staff. So that's the only way to you want to be successful. It's the only way. You see many examples for that.
And you mentioned the Leicester game, 0-0, was the point that Newcastle needed, but Nick Pope had to make a very good save at the end. Were you a wee bit nervous?
Yeah, it was a very strange game, you know, because you see straight away Leicester doesn't want to attack. Newcastle attack, you know, try and it looked like you know, guys, you know, shake me the hands, 1-1, we okay. So it was a strange game because, you know, Newcastle hit in the post 2 times. But a strange game, but both teams knew it. I need a point, you to qualify, I mean a point to me to still alive until the last match. So a strange game, like you say, a strange corner, and Pope was there because, you know. But I believe, well, Newcastle deserve to be where they are, no? To be in the Champions League, and now Leicester in difficult situation.
I know you've been back at the club quite a few times this season. Watching Newcastle, when for you did the Champions League for Eddie Howe's side become a reality? When did you actually think, you know, they've got a really good chance here?
Well, we have to be honest. This season was quite a strange season. You know, normally is we all happen in the last 3-4 years, 5 years. Liverpool there, Spurs there, Chelsea there. I believe Newcastle take the opportunity because Chelsea not doing well, Spurs not doing well, drop so many points, Chelsea not doing well. So that's why Newcastle take the opportunity, and that's finishing there. I hope so next season will be an interesting season. Fingers crossed Newcastle can keep in the same level. They have to improve much better to finish in the top 4 next season because it will be really tough. Many competitions, you know, to play. But as you see, no Liverpool doing well, very inconsistent, and as usual, not in the Liverpool we normally see in the last 2-3 years. Chelsea the same. So Newcastle take the opportunity and finish in the top 4.
What do you think the aim is next season? I mean, we'll get on to what they might have to do in the transfer market, but what do you think the aim is next season? Because the Champions League brings a whole different challenge for Newcastle United. And, you know, if Newcastle, for instance, finish in the top 8 but have a good run in the Champions League, is that a success? I'm just wondering where you think the balance is, because it's an interesting one.
I would say the best example happened is a club in Manchester City. Same situation, you know. He been under different managers, won the league with Pellegrini, the manager from Chile, and before was Mancini too. I think won the league, and after arrived Guardiola to be more consistent, to be more like in the dreams what they have as a club. I believe Newcastle probably need to go for that step. You know, I mean, and for me, the first challenge is Newcastle prove again. I don't think so. Forget about the Champions League. It will be nice to play the Champions League, go further in the competition. Will be amazing. But realistic, you need to see Eddie need to build a strong squad to play. When I will see Manchester City every week, I cannot see who's in the bench or who's the first team player or who's. it has for me, my opinion, has 20 good players. Newcastle need to have that example. I believe Eddie will know that. You need to build them slowly. But you've been waiting for so long for this successful, so I think you are in the right direction with the right people. Fingers crossed, I hope so. Next season you build them, but stay there, no? That's the more important.
And is there anywhere particularly that you're looking forward to maybe visiting with Newcastle in the Champions League, a San Siro, a Bernabeu?
Well, it's too proud. I was very lucky to play against Barcelona, Juventus, Inter de Milan, these giant clubs in Europe. So, well, whatever it is, well, if it's not them early, will be better.
Can you quite believe it's been that long though since you played at the new camp, you played at the San Siro?
It made me feel too old now. When people say 20 years, okay, sorry. I didn't realize how old you are.
What was it like though to play in them big games, them big stadiums for Newcastle?
Like I said to you, it's the best as a footballer. You have a dream, you have a wish. You always want to be in the best competition. It's so much jealous when you're watching on TV, they play Champions League, anywhere around. It's the best competition, after the World Cup, play for your country, like I said before. But it's nice. It's nice to play for that. But for me, that's one of the best club competition.
And we saw how much it meant after the game, and I'm sure everyone's seen the interviews online with the players. But I just want to particularly talk about the likes of Jacob Murphy and Sean Longstaff and Dan Burn, the boyhood Newcastle United fans. I mean, I think everyone that watched Jacob Murphy's interview afterwards would have had a bit of a tear in their eye. Them lads, that it just means the world to them to want to play for Newcastle United, but to get them to the Champions League, it means so much to them.
Well, they deserve it. They're working hard. I'm saying these guys improve in the last periods. That's why this season was quite strange for some players, but that's why a lot of credit for Eddie, because some players didn't perform so well in the beginning of the season, and after the last period, the last month, 2 months, everybody start to give it the best. So that's why they deserve it. I believe the emotional for Eddie Murphy, Byrne is Newcastle, is Jordi Boy. So I believe you're all proud to see people from Newcastle represent your club.
And it's nice as well that, we'll get on to, like I say, the transfer market in a moment, but when we're talking about potential incomings in the summer to improve the squad, I don't think many would have sat here and maybe thought, we're talking about that, but also talking about keeping Jacob Murphy as a first-team player, or Miguel Almiron, or even a Sean Longstaff in certain people's minds. They've really stepped up this season, and it's really refreshing to see.
That's good. That's a good sign. That's a good, because they are already Newcastle players. So Eddie need that. And he need all these players. That's why, sorry to say again, you mentioned Manchester City, the best example, because you see, no play Mahrez, no play Foden, no play Gundogan, whatever is play, Guardiola set the team for any week, all response. That's what you need, players in the same level. So I hope so Newcastle, these guys realize, and now if somebody arrives in the club, I know Eddie probably will find out which is the places we need it in position, but that will be good in competition. You feel like that when somebody, oh my God, you bring somebody like in my same place, I will need to working hard, I need to improve, I cannot fast asleep because I won't have any chance to play anymore. So that's a good competition for the team. No?
And if we're talking about a priority in the transfer window, which position do you think is a priority for Newcastle?
I always say it's a dream, from outside, but I believe Newcastle in part of the middle, any reforce, because I hear all the time when Bruno no play, everybody go and cry and say, oh, Bruno no play. What we're doing, you need somebody there, similar like him, some player to can sit in front of that back four, somebody to sit in there and letting Bruno go. I like Rice. I'm also mentioned this guy from West Ham. I hope so his guy choose to come to the Northeast, because the London boys doesn't like it coming here. I can't believe that, honestly, guys. Sorry to say that. All the time, I got a lot of ex-teammates from England. I'm coming from, bloody Peru, so far away. I say, people there in London, and they're crying to come in here. What's wrong with this bloody beautiful city? It's crazy, honestly. It's crazy. I say, I'm 2 miles away. I'm 6 hours behind, and 12 hours, I don't know how many hours to go on the plane. But, I hope so this guy can put I believe it's the right place for him. I would like it to see him, if he will.
And I guess the Champions League might be the difference from getting a good player and then getting a very good player. Getting the Champions League for Newcastle probably is going to be the difference.
Yeah,
in the
you
window.
will attract him. You will attract him always. The best players, good players, they always have ambition. You know, they always want to have a play Champions League, try to win the Champions League. That's, I believe, Eddie will recognize that. That's why Newcastle was very important to finish in the top 4 this season, because I believe any player want to move now right here.
And you mentioned Bruno, we've mentioned Trippier. For you, who will be the player of the season? Who would you pick?
Well, personal, I wasn't a big fan of him because I don't know. Sometimes he made me confused. I don't know if he's a striker, he's a defender, or he's a Joelinton.
Yeah.
You know, he's a guy. Sorry, but I know what you wish as a fans is somebody perform in the pitch. He's a guy. He will die, go up and down. Don't expect him for him anything. You know, in the quality. He's Brazilian, but to me, it doesn't look Brazilian. To me, I don't know where he's from, but it's changed a lot from the guy, 2 seasons ago, and now he's a guy. I believe he deserved it. Was Eddie team he wanted to be? You know, it's a guy working so hard, a strong guy, monster. You know, it's a guy you see him, let him go, man, because he will crush you, he will kill you. It's a monster. But you see, it's a strange to see a Brazilian, but I used to watch him. I was very lucky to play against Ronaldinho, Robinho, Roberto Carlos, all these superstars. Ronaldo, big Ronaldo, no Cristiano. So, this guy, I don't know where he came from, but it's a fantastic season for him.
Yeah, it is, and again, it's one of those names that I don't think many people would have picked out, and it's probably Kieran Clark's finest moment in a Newcastle United shirt, getting sent off against Norwich, isn't it? And Eddie Howe managed to find Joelinton. Will we take Joelinton as player of the season? Have we got yeah? Well, we'll get to the other nominees later in the show, but let's have a word about Kieran Trippier, because for many he started kind of the level of standard of player that's come in for Newcastle. He was the first kind of really big name to come in. He's absolutely quality in the England squad again. A really good captain. I mean, just how impressed you?
Yeah, he's a wonderful player, wonderful person. I got the opportunity to meet him in the training ground a few months ago. I said to him, "You're born in the wrong time, my friend. Why are you not born? I wish to have you behind me 20 years ago." We all respect my friend Aaron Hughes, Andy Griffin, but they're a little bit panic with the ball. But we couldn't do things happen, back in there. No, it's a wonderful player. That's the reason he played for England. That's why I'm saying Newcastle. That's the quality of player you need to, especially in big clubs, to want to be successful. He's a good captain, a lovely guy. So, well, I like him especially because he need to practice a little bit better free kicks.
Yes, needs to beat.
Sorry, guys.
You played with one of the finest number 9s ever in Alan Shearer. What have you made of today's current number 9 in Callum Wilson? I mean, the form he's been on in the last month or two has been absolutely brilliant in the England squad. What have you made of him at Newcastle United?
It's still hard for all this. I will say now, I know changed a little bit. Football changed a little bit. My opinion, I don't think so. They don't play anymore with wingers. They all three in any team you see, Mahrez, Foden, Haaland, they're all the strikers. No wingers. We used to be proper wingers, staying wide to supply in this time. In the case to Haaland, we need to cross the ball. But now it's everything. Every club now play on the right side, somebody with the left, and the left side, somebody with the right. So Alan Shearer will be crying. He will not have a hair look like now if you play him back in the year like this in this system. Alan cry whenever any time I hold the ball. If you're not crossing and I'm going to check inside, he's crying. Nobby, what are you doing? Okay, I can't cross because the guy's in front of me. I need to check. So he's changed, a little bit football. That's why Wilson, a lot of them, the players changed in the last period. That was very important for the team. Alan's different, he was very lucky having Robert on the left side, always supplied him too. So, but he need assistance, he need assistance. I know Manchester City, you see even Haaland, you go assisting for everywhere. So I believe if the team improve and attacking improve a little bit better, Wilson or whatever playing in the front will be happy.
And Isaac as well, he's really come into his own. Obviously, he had a few injury problems, but we're finally getting to see the best of him.
He's a wonderful player. I saw him when he used to play for Real Sociedad. He used to play in Spain for many, many years. So he's a great, you can see, he's an intelligent player. To me, again, he's another striker. He's playing the winger, but to me, he's a striker. He's another guy score goals, but that's the way now in football. It changed. So he's doing so far so good. I hope so. He's keeping his, keep it strong. No many injuries, because you will need for next season. You need to come back really strong.
And you mentioned there that you'd been invited into the training ground by Eddie Howe. I mean, that's a nice touch from the gaffer, and he seems to really get the club and its history and its tradition. So just talk us through that experience of getting the call and saying Eddie wants you to come up to the training ground.
Well, I didn't realize, first of all, I thought just getting by to have a look at the training. He never put me in front to speak to the players. I was a little bit shy, sorry. But a little scared, a little bit nervous to speak in front to the lads. But it was nice. Like you say, Eddie's an intelligent guy, He's getting on well with... the club now, the people, look after the club. It look like they want to be a family, get involved again back in the year with all the ex-players, people like that. So that's good. That's good. Recognized for the people now. That's why it's in the right direction. I believe, I hope so. Fingers crossed to next season. It will be a big test. I'm still a little bit scared what's going to happen with Newcastle next season, because it will be complete. Play against anymore to the team just to fight teams to not go relegated. Now you want to play a team to try to fight to get trophies, try to win things. So it will be very interesting next season in Newcastle.
And when you went around the training ground, I assume the work had already started. The new owners putting a lot of money into it, which is good, because had you gone a year ago, 18 months ago, it probably would have looked the same as it did when you left Newcastle the second time around.
To be honest, my friend, back you compare with Peru, where I came from, it's still so nice Newcastle training ground for me. We don't have even grass in Peru. So to me, it always looked very pretty. I don't know why you have to change there, But, as a footballer, you need to appreciate. We are very lucky to have all the accommodation. But I don't mind to have the best, dress room to have a shower. I prefer to have the field where we want to train it. It's always very perfect. Now it looks so good, the club.
You mentioned there about Eddie kind of understanding the history and the tradition, and that's something he's really wanting to bed into the squad. And then you have the likes of Sean Longstaff, Dan Burn, Elliot Anderson, who know all about what's happened with Newcastle. How important do you think that is, that you have people who can tell the story and tell new arrivals just how important this club is to these guys?
Well, like I'm saying to many people, always the passion. When you, for me, it's really strange, because back in the years, the only was mentioned all the time, especially in South America, more talking about Italian football, Spanish football, Germany football, Portuguese football. But no, England, to be honest, I always say to people, I couldn't believe, especially here, because I never see people around, when you arrive in Newcastle, get very, very dark very early, and say, what is it people doing here? Nobody here. But after in the weekend, when we play the matches, all the town busy. I say, wow, where does the people came from? So it was amazing, very, very impressed, and how green it is, well, raining, wind, cold. But the passion you show here, you engage straight away. I say, I can't believe how much you love football in this town.
And you felt that in your first kind of game, because if I'm not mistaken, you played for the reserves first of all, just one game, and you had to delay the kick-off because there was that much interest in seeing yourself.
I never realized that, my friend. I couldn't speak any English. I couldn't understand anything, especially Jordi. So somebody said, man, you speak English? I said, no, I can speak Jordi. So it was really tough, difficult. I used to, in the beginning when I moved to here, I used to live in the hotel. So somebody in the hotel knocked my door about 2:30, 3 o'clock. So I was sleeping. I said, what you want? Was one of my teammates. Just only say Scottish guy, I can't remember his name. He said, we need to go. Where? I said, we have a game today. It was on Monday, so reserve team. Oh my God, okay, I have to go. I thought we want to play in the training ground. He started driving, see this St. James Park. Oh, say, we want to pick it up, maybe our stuff from here. I never realized when I go in, get changed. I was really confused. What's going on in here? The game was on the Saturday because my debut is supposed to be next week against Chelsea, but was on the Monday. Say, well, in the Jordi, everybody tried blah, blah, blah. Couldn't understand. Just play the game. 5,000 people. Wow, oh my God. What's going on here?
Amazing. And I just want to go back to when you obviously first signed for Newcastle. How did the move come about? I mean, it was Kenny Dalglish who brought you the first Peruvian to play in the Premier League. I mean, did you know much about Newcastle before you arrived?
Yeah, like I said before, Tino Asprilla used to play when we was the match back in Peru. You know, the Premier League started to become very, very, very famous in South America. Always on television, some games, important games. But when Newcastle was in the Champions League and they play against Barcelona. Yes, I remember I was playing in Argentina, but I was playing in Peru, sorry, 96, before I moved to Argentina, 97. So that's when I moved to Argentina, I played for Boca Junior. Just my agent told me, listen, there's a lot of interest, maybe Arsenal or maybe Newcastle. I say, oh, wonderful. If it's whatever, any club, I'm go. So I was very lucky, my agent knew Kenny Dalglish, one of Kenny Dalglish's friends back in the year, and Kenny saw me playing for Boca Junior and was interested, and that's why I moved to the wonderful place.
Yes, and never looked back. Let's just talk about the managers you've played, and you mentioned Kenny, and then you mentioned Ruud, and obviously Sir Bobby. What was Kenny like to play under? I know he wasn't there for very long, but he's a legend on the pitch. What was he like as a manager?
Yeah, well, and I knew Kenny Dalglish, big player, history of him. He used to play, I remember I was young, but he played against Peru in the World Cup 78. I'm born 74, only was 4 years old. Huh? I look old, but not that old. But I remember because Cubillas make the very famous Teófilo Cubillas outside his booth, put in the corner. So I'm saying he's a very popular, very famous manager. It's a shame because I didn't see much Kenny in that time. He wasn't much spending time in the training ground. It was, because when you are a manager, you need to look after many things. So, but it was, first of all, really tough and difficult. Imagine him, Terry Mack, when I arrived in the club to speak I couldn't speak any English. He guys speaks Scottish. Terry Mack speaks Geordie, couldn't understand anything.
And then Ruud Gullit, the manager. I mean, things obviously went sour very quickly under Ruud. I mean, just how bad did it get?
It was, I would say, I got the experience now. I'm stopped playing football. I'm crashed to go now as a coach, things like that. I would say you need to have a period. We were always thinking because we play football, we can be good managers. No chance. Anybody in this room, if you study, you do the same thing, you can be good manager too. But no, the reason we play football, we go, I would say maybe a little bit experience in the way dress rooms, things like that. But we all has to do the same thing. So Ruud Gullit happened to him. I remember he joined to us. He was in Chelsea. And after only was 1 year in Chelsea as a manager, and after took Newcastle job, it was really tough. You have to be man managers, and after that you can coach in the best way you can. But and unfortunately for him, he has to deal with difficult situation with these ex-players. It was quite old team, so he need to make change, but he know how to do it, how to manage. It was quite good sessions. It was fantastic football, and we love him in AC Milan. But as a team manager, it wasn't the best.
And one of the changes that he tried to make, or one of his final changes, was not playing Alan Shearer in the time we had Derby. When you saw the team sheet, what was your reaction?
We couldn't believe. We saw Alan, Duncan Ferguson on the bench. We always was like this. I was nervous. This guy wondered what to do. Honestly, it was shock because back in the year we used to go to the dress room before the match, and we saw the ball, put it up like that, and we see, the line team, and like that I'm there. Okay, I was happy. I'm there in the team. I will start today. When you next so these guys peace. So no Alan, no Ferguson, what's going on? Is that Paul Robinson was a striker? I remember my friend Robert. So it was crazy. This guy knew it probably he will leave the club because he put a hand in here. I just let him to the game go.
And you've obviously you played for Boca Juniors, so you will know about derbies and how the atmosphere over in Argentina. But just explain to our guests here tonight about the atmosphere of playing in a time weird derby. But what is that like?
Well, it's completely different, to be honest. Always, I cannot compare Argentina with the derby here. You two good guys. You two perfect in this place. In Argentina, we need to go with policemen, with everyone to inside the pitch and get out with policemen because it's too crazy, especially if you lose. So no, it's amazing. I know the derby. We get into when you play football, you get into a little bit into the fans too. You know, you have to be into the fans side. We know how you're feeling because you outside there. The only problem you can do is what we can do inside the pitch. You know, sometimes you want to kick the ball, but we didn't kick it. So it's the feeling for the derby is special, and find out through the guys, through the players. Oh, we play Sunderland. Oh, Sunderland, right? Yeah. But then realize day by day when you get close into the match, how exciting everyone. Neighbors knock my door to asking for tickets. I have a ticket, please. We got the derby. So well, it was amazing how important is win the derby. No, I mean it's the best thing you can make it happy. Your own fans in the day. No.
Well, the key question on that is because this does create a bit of debate on social media. Would you have liked to have seen Sunderland come up into the Premier League for next season to have the derby back, or are you quite happy to see them in the Championship?
Of course. You know, we always wishing back in the years to say, please, Sunderland, stay out because it's like our kids. You can play with them and beat them all the time. So we was very happy in that
time. Rude goes and Sir Bobby Robson comes in, and you've mentioned there he changed the kind of dynamic, you know, within the group. How tough of a job did he have straight away to change it, or was it like an instant change? You just needed a different kind of manager, a different kind of character.
Well, you can tell straight away. We play Sheffield Wednesday. He has a debut, being only in the club 2 weeks. We beat Sheffield Wednesday A1, I think. A1. I tell you, answer the question very fast. No, Bobby, his old experience, the way he talk, is, you know, we always say he's not our coach. We feel is your granddad, you know, your granddad telling to you things what you have to do, advice, everything like that. Bobby was the same. He's straight away very clever, intelligent. He's signing good play, bro. Laurent Robert in that back in the years, Craig Bellamy, start to signing good players. So he was read straight away what the team needed, and they start working straight away.
But I also believe that if on the rare chance he didn't pick you, you had a bit of a way to annoy him. Now, the key question people might be asking or wondering, have you got your trumpet with you?
I wish, my friend, but I cannot blow anymore.
But you used to annoy Sir Bobby, didn't you? If you didn't put
well, it was part of the team spirit. I remember we used to, now you see the stuff is amazing. You see this guy go in the physio room, you have 10 people, 12 people. Back in the years, it's only two physios, and Derek, I remember, big Derek has to deal with all injury things like that. So what happened back? If you injury, they used to make rules. If you injury, you need to arrive a little bit earlier, but you will get treatment after all the fit players needed, go into the field, and after you start to get a treatment. So okay, I was a little bit boring. We arrived 8 o'clock and they start to treat at 10:30. So I got the idea. I said I will bring my trumpet because it was inside the training ground, a nice room in there with nice acoustic. So I will practice here until this guy have a treatment. So I don't know if Bobby used to like it before he start, and every day, every training session like a talk, anything but like a talk, you know. So you like a pull everybody together in the field, guys. We want to do this, we want to do that. So one of the days I said, okay. I went with my trumpet, hiding in behind the trees around there. So he start to talk to my player, start to blow my trumpet, you know, like a big Pink Panther, play a Pink Panther. And Bobby started to look, carry on talking. When he soon start to talking, I start to blow harder. And Bobby start to go like, are you fucking funny? He didn't realize it was me. You know, he come inside. He told to security people, oh, it's fucking funny, somebody there, blow the trumpet. And after he was inside his restroom and blow the trumpet again. Fucking. It was very fun.
And on the pitch, I know he obviously got Newcastle to the Champions League. He got them within touch and distance of a title as well. I mean, he just played some fantastic football as well. What was it like to be in a team of Sir Bobby's where he really wanted to attack the opposition?
Always what I say, I was very lucky to you play, you know, in front to, when you have very good players around you, you make a football so easy, so simple. So in that time we were fantastic attacking team. Maybe we could improve to be more defensively, wasn't very strong enough. I only know, I won't say our back four now. We all engage now. You see the football now, how compact everyone go forward, attack and defend. But back in the years, we was very good. We knew Alan. We knew what is Alan want to. The good thing Bobby recognized because Alan wasn't with that pace enough. Bro, Craig Bellamy. So we was quite. We really enjoy even before the matches. I used to enjoy very much. Have a Kieron Dyer when he was fit. It's amazing. I can link in with him to play 1-2 before we go forward. So make it easy. That's why you enjoy when you're watching these great teams, great club when you play together. That's the best thing you, as a footballer, you wish. So when you have too many intelligent brains inside the pitch, you play easy.
And you mentioned Alan there. I mean, there's all the stories about him pinning Ginola up against the wall and saying, "You've got to cross the ball to us." Did you have any polite run-ins?
I wasn't here. Ginola, I wasn't here. I wasn't that time. I was with only Bellamy tried to be too clever to him. It was a difficult moment for Bellamy. We tried to. The good thing, Alan was intelligent man. We were waiting for him, still waiting for him in the gym.
And I mean, Alan's often said you are potentially, or perhaps the best crosser of the ball he's played with. I mean, that is a tremendous accolade, a compliment from Alan to you to say you are one of the best.
I'm not expecting nothing else, my friend. All the time I have the ball. Nobby, have the ball. The guy all the time driving me crazy. But no, we knew it's the type of number 9 always say, no, we say, Nobby, soon you have the ball, please whip in. We'll be there because these monster defenders, I need to fight with them. So it was really, really enjoyable to play with him, to conserve with him because we knew it. This guy has a chance, he bomb. Because every day is, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, stay after training, boom, finishing, put in the top corners, poor Che even. So all the time he's battle him. But that's why he knew, he said it was right. No, I need to practice here because in the game, how many chances I will have? 1, 2. But when I have a 1, I want to be sure to put in the net. But it was very good professional.
I'm just wondering, obviously, you would have heard of Alan Shearer, known of his talents, but when you actually arrived at Newcastle and you got to train with him and play with him, I mean, was there a moment you just step back and go, okay, yeah, he's very much the real deal?
Well, like I'm saying, I was back when I arrived in the club. It was him. I remember Esteban Guibart. He signed him from France. John Barnes, Olivier Ouda, Philippe Albert. But Alan, I knew he was the one of the important players for the club. Played for England back in that year. Was a captain for England. Yeah, I knew it was amazing. I was very lucky to I'm enjoying always with good strikers. I played with Canilla back in Argentina. Canilla. Palermo, the striker from, is another big player. So I really enjoy. I was very lucky to play with big number 9s all the time in my career.
And we mentioned earlier about obviously this current Newcastle United side getting to the Champions League and how they are the first side to do it since Bobby's side and the side you played in. Is there one particular away game in the Champions League that stands out? That a night in the San Siro or a night in the Nou Camp? Is there one that particularly is in your mind?
Yeah, well, we was, to be honest, we feel disappointing because I knew if we win and we was winning 2-1 against Inter de Milan away in the last 2-3 minutes set pieces again. I remember the Córdoba, the Colombian center back scored and equalized 2-2. That's why we knock out. Very disappointing. We played so well, so good. Alan scored. I remember twice in the game. I'm not sure, but it was a fantastic match. So shame because in the last minute because we want to carry on in the competition.
I think it was the first season Newcastle in the Champions League. It didn't start off particularly well, but then they ended up beating, I think it was Juventus, and then they went to Feyenoord and got that last-minute win. I mean, what was that run like? Because to get through at the next stage, it wasn't expected, was it?
Well, that's the best thing happened. That's why when you see the Champions League, it's no surprise to you who's in the finals, because the experience you play every year, every season, every year, you got that experience. It's completely different competition. I know you play the domestic, competition, but when you have to play international, it's completely different. So we knew all the time we are not suffering because we play against experienced teams all the time in this competition. So, but it's so good, was very good. Like I said before, it's a shame because we tried to be again in the Champions League the first time. It's a shame because we knock out through penalties. But I believe it's the best competition, honestly, the best competition.
And you mentioned there the game against Inter Milan. I think everyone that was there from a Newcastle point of view in the away end, tonight that'll stay with them forever. And when you look at the pictures, I mean, Newcastle quite literally took over Milan, didn't they, that night? I mean, what was it like when you walked out and you just saw everyone in there?
First of all, play San Siro is one of the history in football, the best stadiums. But like I say, all the time we enjoy so much, see all the Jordis around the corner. Even it's a huge stadium, but I know how much your fans enjoy so much traveling with your team, playing this in international competition. So I hope so they enjoy again this year.
Yes, fingers crossed. And I just want to ask you as well, there was a game against Manchester United where Newcastle scored in the last minute. I think they won. Was it 4-3 perhaps? Your shot got blocked in Shearer.
Yeah, I know. Very bad shot. I don't know how the ball come back to him. I didn't hit that hard. I don't know how the ball come back to Alan.
You'll take the assist. Now everyone remembers that game for Alan Shearer winding up Roy Keane. I'm just wondering what you remember about that.
I'm still very far away from them, my friend. I can see these two guys biting together. No, it's not my game.
And obviously you then left to go to Aston Villa, and then you returned. And I remember being in the Leazers end for Michael Owen's unveiling, and the chance suddenly turned to, we want Nobby Solano, we want Nobby Solano, and Freddie was on the pitch. And then I think it was the next day it was confirmed and you were coming back. How did that move come about?
To be honest, I never meant to me to leave the club, but you know, sometimes when you have back in that, especially that season was a little bit strange because we knocked out from the Champions League. Bobby Robson signing Lee Boyer. I feel a little bit like okay, I will have a competition, I will do that, no problem. But Bobby changed a little bit in the thought about myself. The last one of the game was really disappointing when we want to play Middlesbrough. We used to meet in half of the way in the hotel before the match. And I wasn't even in the bench, so I feel like I was only 28 years back. Now I'm talking about 2004, 2005. So I was feeling, Bobby maybe changed about myself. It doesn't want to me anymore. Things like that. Just make a decision. Don't go with the team. I spoke to Shearer back. God bless him. Sorry, and I speak to him to say, listen, I want to play football. If Bobby feeling, I don't want to unrespect him, I like him, he's a good man, but I respect his decisions. So I was quite lucky to get interested with David O'Leary, was the manager in Aston Villa. He signed him and went there. Bobby rang me the same day, I'm going to Aston Villa to sign him. I go, Nobby, what are you doing? We love you. Come on, Gaff, I've been 3 months here, you don't say to me that you love me. So, well, I leave and then went to Aston Villa. Have a good time, play football every day, I'm enjoy. But always, to be honest, I never want to leave because I'm still having the house over here. And to be honest, I never meant to me to leave, but I want to play football. So I was lucky to get in contact and Shearer all the time before the end of the season. No, you need to come back, my friend. So that's the reason made me back.
Tremendous. And it was a fantastic move. I just want to come back to the current day then, and we'll have a word on the owners. What have you made of their time in charge so far? They've obviously appointed Eddie Howe, they've backed him in the transfer market. I bet they can't quite believe just how quickly things have accelerated and they're into the Champions League.
Well, like I'm saying, my friend, always you need to gamble, make decisions. I will say it's sometimes too easy to, when we're outside now in the game, to say things or to thinking we go the right thing. Football is like that. Picture changed so much, very good for the club. I'm so glad for all yours. I understand how much is your passion. You love this club. You love football. Very, very glad for you what happened. But like you say, it was unpredictable, everything. So bring a young manager from Bournemouth, see what happened. It keep a lot of the players used to be from the last 2-3 years fighting to don't go relegation. It was amazing, actually. I mean, it's a great gamble, good situation, good stable guys, because you see these people now give a stable relation to the manager. That's what you're feeling now. I hope so in the bad, difficult run, it's still the same situation because now everything changed. Football is crazy now. Sack manager. I moved to this country, to this football like 25 years ago. I used to watch manager for like 6-7 years in the same club. And now you no longer depend how you're doing. But it's no longer until 5 months, 6 months you get sacked. It's changed now. The owner changed, because they are having too much ambition. So fingers crossed. I mean, Eddie make the right decision for the next season. You have to keep it strong, whatever happens, because it's a lot of competition. But I believe all these guys will be over the moon because everything go in the dream.
And you've been working with the club as well. You were over in the United States with Darren Neals.
Bloody crazy, man. How you was going to send me to the pub 6:30 in the morning, have a tequila, man? Wow. Guys, you're all over the place. It's a small city here, but so many Jordis around the world. Nice, very nice to see the fans. We watched the game, Leeds United game, amazing. 6:30, no, we had to be 6:30, game start 7:30.
And just you've been involved with the club as well this season, going on the boxes and stuff.
Oh,
Is it nice to be back involved?
Oh, 100%. I'm being here like 4 years, 3 years ago. I need to buy my ticket to go to watch a match. I look at myself, I say, I'm in the wrong place. So I play for this club, maybe in the wrong city. Oh, nice. It's nice. I'm glad for you guys, these people with the ambition. I hope so. Many of these people before. In the short time, you can see any trophy because I know how desperate you are.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And let's just talk quickly about the Carabao Cup final. It didn't go to plan for Newcastle, obviously getting beat by Manchester United. But what positives do you think they will take from that? Will that just make them more hungry to get there again next year and make sure that next year, if they do get there, they bring it home this time?
Well, football is like this. You all the time can win, but the more important how you achieve. That's why they say the players to believe. It's good for the players to believe. We reach the final. Well, next time, if I have the opportunity, next time we have to make sure to win. But that's good. To the team always be there, finals, things like that. It's a good sign. It's a very good sign.
And obviously, we talk about you getting invited back to the training ground. I'm sure everyone saw the video that was released last week of Shearer going back as well. And you had the camera strapped to him and they were putting him through his paces. Did you not get a similar invite to get down the wing and put a few crosses in?
I wish, my friend, but I cannot move anymore. But no, it's still my right foot there, guys. Whenever I want to play 5-a-side, you give me a call, but I'm still there. But not run too much. No, it's lovely. It's nice to see. Shea's. People love him too. He's been here, born here. I mean, he's been in the club for many years, so it was fantastic for us. He always Shea. Shea was fit. We all respect Stevie Harper, great keeper too, but Shea is a great goalkeeper back in the years. He's suffering with our defense. Always I remember Shea in the corner say, "Nobby, please, Mark, tell people to mark who." Davisa, Mark, Titan Bramble, but said, listen, the corner is against us. Yes, please tell it to mark them.
And I just want to obviously we've got a room full of fans here and they're out to see you, and obviously when you're around the city and you've moved back now to Newcastle and then I've seen you getting stopped for photographs and everything. What is that like? Did you think when you first moved here back in '98 that the city and the fan base would have this love affair with you?
Well, to be honest, I'm saying all the time, people, when I'm speaking about football, if you give everything in the pitch, you're more than welcome. I would see people don't appreciate maybe some skills, things like that. If you put in the top corner, they will appreciate more. So I would say that the passion, the football, that's why you engage. When you love football, you love passion. And to be honest, I've been in this city for so long, like 10 years. It's like I always say, I'm in my second home. I got a lot of friends, not only in football, outside football, lovely people, always very friendly, lovely playing, lovely nights, many nights. And but always nice to be here. Part of all my kids born in here, so I'm 50-50. I'm Geordie adopted. Thank you.
I think, ladies and gents, we can all agree that Nobby gave 100% when he was here. Keep the round of applause going because that's the end of the first half. Nobby, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.